So this was all.
With a view, exactly. And Jefferson writes that he was violently smitten here. It's up here, right here, you see where he would watch another building being built, the University of Virginia. From here, he could observe everything going on about 3 miles away.
Let's take a look. I'm sure I'm not supposed to, but sorry, we're breaking protocol here. That's all right. That's the good thing about being president. I can do whatever I want.
Un petit morceau de France ici. Mr. President, can you speak to us?
Well, this is a wonderful visit. I'm going to have a chance to speak to you at the end of the tour.
Okay, thank you.
Promise.
Welcome back. Well, 200 top military leaders have left their ranks during President Obama's time in office so far, averaging one every 8.8 days. So is the military being decimated under the Obama administration?
Or is this the way it goes with everyday attrition? Let's ask J.D. Gordon, a retired Army commander and former Pentagon spokesperson who serves in the Office of the Secretary of Defense from 05 to 09. J.D., what's going on here?
Well, I think that President Obama is trying to make the military smaller, weaker, and poorer. And this is just the latest example of it.
Why would any president want to do that?
Well, I think President Obama has this ideology where he thinks that if our military is weak, people won't attack us. I think that's completely wrong. I think that if we're weak, people will attack us. So I think it's part of a flawed ideology. And I think he's basically trying to put the hammer down on the military. We see $1 trillion in defense cuts coming down the pike in the next decade. That's going to hollow out the military like during the 1970s. We're going to have a hard time defending this country under this leadership.
Why the scrutiny? I mean, it seems the greatest leaders, those that have sacrificed the longest for our nation, in high-ranking positions in the military are being scrutinized. Why?
I think a lot of it's political. I think Obama wants to send a message to the military that he's the boss and he's going to do whatever he wants with the military. In this case, we're seeing these massive cuts, like I said, with this $1 trillion in defense budgets. So if there's any hint of anything that may be wrong or any sign of controversy, he'll just say goodbye, get rid of them. So I think that's dangerous for the country.
Well, we have 200 since he's taken off. Do you know roughly what under President Bush, under more strain and stress over 2 wars in 10 years, that he was experiencing?
Oh, it was certainly a lot less than this. You know, I got to tell you that in World War II and in the Civil War, a lot of senior officers were relieved, but that was because of lack of success. Ineffectiveness on the battlefield. We don't really have the same metrics to measure that on the battlefield today. So a lot of guys, what they do is a lot of it's political, and a lot of it is it's easy to get in trouble today. There's a lot of scrutiny on admirals and generals, captains, commanders. There's hotline calls everywhere, and the troops used to have a healthy respect for the chain of command as far as giving them their space. They don't anymore. And also, what people could say about 20 years ago, they can't say anymore. It would get them fired. But I think President Obama...
Well, we find that in a lot of areas of life, too. I mean, you were saying about personal behavior that were Patton and MacArthur and others held up to the same scrutiny as McChrystal and Petraeus. They would have been relieved today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, during World War II, Patton, Eisenhower, MacArthur, they all had mistresses, but that was their business in those days. That's not the case today, so the standards have changed with the culture. But the thing I got to mention that I'm really upset about President Obama with is he spends all this time going after these top military officers. 200 have been fired during his term, one every 8.8 days. But yet he spends all this time trying to give constitutional rights to al-Qaeda and Taliban terrorists at Guantanamo? Why doesn't he give our military people more of a break and stop trying to defend al-Qaeda so much at Guantanamo?
Oh, the same benefit of the doubt. Well said. J.D. Gordon, thank you for being
Thanks,
with us
Elizabeth.
this morning.
JD. Thanks. Meanwhile, coming up...
Essentially, we have a fifth column movement in the United States that is criminal in nature, criminal in background, and criminal in future intent with a religious mission that's been retrofitted onto them.
The enemy has been very bold in telling us what they want to do. They literally want to take over our country.
The group is responsible for over 50 attacks on U.S. soil and has over 35 compounds right here in our very own nation. Now, a new investigation by the Christian Action Network has uncovered some disturbing information about the spread of homegrown terrorists and what they mean for America.
They stockpiled weapons, they stockpiled explosives, they targeted Hindus, they targeted Jews, they targeted other Muslims, they targeted Christians, they terrorized. Fire!
We want to declare once and for all that America is our country. We will defend our country against all these enemies.
You're a liar.
Watch the video.
You're a liar.
Get out. No one ever
Get out.
Get out.
For those who actually look up in the sky and look up in the air, you'll notice that in your area there are probably these fake trees, and yes, this is a fake tree with a transmitter in it. And I mean, it's just so ridiculous that they actually are making fake trees to hide their transmitters in them. And as I've always said, you know, if they're actually going to hide it, then clearly they're doing something they don't want us to know. So that should be the first indicator that this is not something that's good. I actually am making this because I have a big video I'm going to make on this entire topic, not just the fake trees, but the whole smart grid as a whole. This is only a small piece of it, but I thought I'd give you a little preview, just a short little video. And here's another one of these things. I also want to say that this is right by my house. Like, this is dangerously close to my house. This is about a quarter mile away from me, and I cannot believe that these are in our area, and you cannot get away from them. This other one is about probably 5 miles from my house. I mean, look how ridiculous this thing actually looks. I mean, the other one it's a little bit easier to hide because it's kind of by the freeway. You don't really notice it when you're driving by on the freeway. But this one is on the street, and I mean, how could you not notice that? I mean, this is so ridiculous how big this thing is. And if you notice, they're always way high up in the air. Like this is at least 10 feet up from here to here, and obviously they don't want us climbing up this and taking this stuff down or breaking it or blowing it up or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I have a lot of research to still do on this topic, and I'm hoping to have the video up in the next day or two. I'm going to do this video in pieces, so I'm hoping to have the first 5 to 10 minute segment done by tonight. And anyway, be on the lookout for this video because this is a big deal. And just look around. If you haven't seen these things before, trust me, they're there. And I want to plug a website. It's called antennasearch.com. And you just put in your address. It'll show how many of these things are in your area. And there's literally like 60 of these fake trees just in my area within 4 miles of me. And some of them are very subtle. I've never seen them before in person. So, but they're there. Go look for those, and I'll have that link in the description.